Hi, this is Sean Keith with Keith Law Group, and this is your August of 2023 update on the acetaminophen autism and ADHD litigation that's going on in federal court in Manhattan in front of Judge Coate up in New York. I first want to give a shout out to my client Lisa. I won't say your last name, Lisa, but you know who you are. Thanks for reminding me, hey, we haven't gotten an update in a while. Actually, a couple of people did, and I really appreciate it. There's a couple of reasons you haven't gotten an update. Number one, I usually wait until I have something to update you with. And I also like to always talk to Roger Smith, who's your attorney, my co-counsel in this with Beasley Allen. Roger and the team from Beasley Allen, if you remember, they're the ones who are gathering your medical records. You probably have communicated with them after you talked to me initially. And Roger is part of the leadership team for the nation in regards to these cases. So Roger is very much involved. I always like to talk to Roger before giving these updates. Okay, so here's your update. Number one, we are in the middle of what is called the general causation phase of this litigation, where we are establishing the proof for the court that in general, there is a cause and effect between the taking of the acetaminophen and the autism and ADHD. So that all leads to what happens is, first, each side files the names of their experts with their reports. That was done for us back in June. Then the defense does it about 30 days later. Plaintiffs always go first, then the defense goes. After you file the reports, then there are depositions that are taking place. And right now, the acetaminophen defendants are taking our experts' depositions. And so that's happening right now. In fact, it will wrap up next week. In the month of September, the plaintiff, and through their leadership, people like Roger Smith, will be taking the experts that the defense has put up. They're putting up their reports right now. In September, we'll take theirs. All of that eventually leads to filing of what's called Daubert motions, Daubert, D-A-U-B-E-R-T, and that is what leads to the court in December determining, or leads to the court, not necessarily December. We're very hopeful that we'll get a decision by the end of the year from Judge Coate, but that will lead to a decision by Judge Coate of, does our science stack up? They'll argue that it doesn't, we'll argue that it does. That's the general causation phase for the litigation. Now, once we get over that hurdle, obviously we feel very confident that we will, but we've got to do that first. Then you go to the specific causation stage, which that's specific to like your specific case. You're talking about things like whether the child was born prematurely, pollution issues, all kinds of different things affect specific causation. General causation comes first, then specific causation. Okay, so you might ask, what kind of things are they challenging? What are you arguing about? You're really arguing, your experts are arguing about different studies. And so there are a lot of studies that have come out. Some studies are more helpful or stronger for us. Other studies are weaker or more helpful for the other side. For example, there's a study out there called the Gustafson study, and that's where they took a study of children with autism and they compared their siblings. And in that study, there wasn't as much of a statistically significant difference for those women who had taken acetaminophen during pregnancy, but there still is a statistical significant difference. It's not as much, and so the defense will argue, look at this study. The counter to that also is, in that Gustafson study, for example, there are only 34 children that were studied. So our argument is, we still have a difference, a statistical significant difference, but there are only 34 people. So that's really not a strong study. That's the kind of stuff. I won't get into the weeds anymore, and I apologize for doing it that much, but that's what's going on right now. It's called Daubert. That's where we're headed, and hopefully we'll have a decision by the end of the year. In the meantime, I think this judge is doing a great job of keeping the housekeeping going. For example, she just entered an order this week which said negligent misrepresentation claims in cases that are filed from certain states, Arkansas being one. Let's see. The other states are Indiana, Kentucky, Idaho, California, Colorado, North Dakota, Tennessee, and Texas. If there's a negligent misrepresentation claim in a particular lawsuit from those states, then it's automatically dismissed. That doesn't mean the whole case is dismissed. It means that those counts are dismissed. Again, we had the Texas decision come out that's affecting many of our clients. We're not ready to throw those away. So hang on in regards to Texas, Oklahoma, Michigan. But we had that. That was a couple months ago. This judge is continuing to do what we would call housekeeping. All right. I've gone on a little long. I apologize. I know, again, it's been about 6 weeks or so since the last update, so this one's a little bit longer. If you have questions, please let me know. Otherwise, your firms and your attorneys that you have hired to work on this case are working really hard right now. I'll keep you updated. I'll come out with another update next month, maybe a little bit shorter, may not be much to update. But until then, thank you very much. I hope it cools down wherever you are and we start getting into the fall. Have a great day.